Hey, welcome to the Goldenboishow. Donovan, Golden Boy, your host. I'm here with Derek Deprey, speaker, author, coach. The man's great. He's been doing great things with not only his story, but his book Shift that has recently came out last year. Hey, I got a great guest for you in the start of 2019, folks. I hope you're excited because I am.
Yeah, thank you for having me. Appreciate it. Yeah, thank you so much.
It's a pleasure to be here. I'm such an honor to be here. We finally get it going. I know I've been trying to get you on the show, but hey, we're here now and we're going to have some action, right?
Awesome.
All right, so Derek, tell me, who really is Derek Deprey?
So I'm a father of two girls, Ellie and Mia. Ellie's 10 and Mia's 7. And husband to my wife, Rachel, for about 12 years. We just had our Aaron Rodgers and Tom Brady anniversary, the number 12s. And I absolutely love people, personal growth, and fitness. And I've been blessed to have careers with the Milwaukee Brewers, Milwaukee Bucks, the men's basketball teams at the University of Utah and Marquette men's basketball, and then also right now with the Wisconsin Athletic Club. And I always say none of it goes a secret to maybe the career that I've been able to have right now is really in the co-design, the life that Rachel, my spouse, and I have been really able to create.
Excellent, excellent. So you're all these different areas. Tell me, where did it begin on this sense of wanting to be a speaker, right?
Yeah.
On that, tell me a little more about that for who you are.
Yeah, so the route to becoming a speaker wasn't easy.
Yeah.
And, I have situations where I crashed a lot. So, a couple examples. In second grade, my teacher asked me to do an oral book report on the book Tortoise and the Hare. And she asked, Derek, why don't you come up in front of class? And I went up there. And I completely froze. I did not say a word, and she said, Derek, you can go sit down now. I couldn't sing the scale in front of my teacher. I was the captain of my high school basketball team, and in the huddle, I was too nervous or terrified to even say a word. I had to lead by example on the court. And where it all boiled up and where my major crash was on stage at Marquette University. It was in 2006. We just finished our basketball season. We lost to Alabama in the NCAA tournament. And Coach Tom Crean wanted me to give an award out that night. The Hit the Deck Award to one of our players, Joe Chapman. And it was 13 hours before that night, and he let me know that situation. And I was completely terrified. He had no clue I was terrified. I went through all the VHS, as people might remember those, the tapes on the wall in the video room, to find the basketball banquets from the previous 3 years. I memorized word for word what the other coaches said. And I even wrote it down, 3x5 card, tucked it in my pocket. At 7:52 p.m. sharp, my name gets called up to give out the award. And I completely froze. I forgot everything I said. I forgot that I had the 3x5 card in my pocket. I just shook my head, looked down, looked at Joe, and I just said, and the award goes to Joe Chapman. And that moment stuck with me. I actually left Marquette because of that moment to go to Utah to try to restart because I thought everybody thought about that moment every single time I went into work. I wanted to crawl in a hole and not see any of my peers again. So that has always stuck with me. And how I overcame it was, I would say, through the fusing together of two things. Making a decision to do it afraid and by setting a deadline. So I made the decision, I'm going to do something afraid, and it all happened actually after I went to the Wisconsin Athletic Club. We had this corporate orientation. I had no part of the orientation. I really just sat in the back and interacted with some of our colleagues. And after that orientation, it was about 8 o'clock at night, the owners and the general managers, I was the general manager of the Wisconsin Athletic Club at the time, one of them. And the owner said, you know what, one of our facilitators, Dan, is going to be leaving the organization. Does anybody want to raise their hand and be the facilitator for our next orientation, which was 3 months from then? It was dead silence for 20 seconds. It felt like a day. And something in me I did it afraid. I raised my hand, you know what, I'll do it. And the owners and the GMs didn't know I was deathly terrified of doing that. And that was me setting a deadline of 90 days from now. I have to get in front of a room and lead this presentation.
Wow. That's where it all really started with the speak. Okay. So I know you speak a lot about personal development. So what's the power of personal development? Why even do it in 2019?
Yeah. As humans, we face doubt, insecurity, and uncertainty. And personal growth is, I think, a major way for us to climb the uphill battle of life that we're in. And pursuing personal growth and development, and it's interesting, we're not saying pursue other people. It's pursuing personal growth and development. In 2008, when I was ready to get out of basketball, I was at the University of Utah. I had the opportunity to interview for the Wisconsin Athletic Club. One of the owners, his name is Ches, he asked me a question in the interview. He asked me, do you have a plan for personal growth and development? And if so, what is that plan? And I said, oh yeah, I have a plan. And I just started talking. I was like that car that was stuck in mud. I wasn't shifting at all. I was talking about how hard I worked, how much I knew basketball. Moments later, I realized I didn't have a plan at all. And that question made me wake up and realize I was just coasting through life. That question asked me to be the driver of my own personal growth and development. For some reason, I still got the job, and a month later, at the North Shore, Wisconsin Athletic Club location, Deb Orr, a dear mentor of mine, who was the general manager at the time I was replacing her, she passed me a book, The 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership by John Maxwell. I had never read a book in its entirety until that moment. I was 28 years old. And that's where it started. I started reading that book. I was enjoying it. I was able to apply stuff in that book. And by following and pursuing personal growth and development, it allowed me to navigate and find things that got me excited. Oh, I was excited about reading about personal growth and development. Why don't you start speaking on it? You enjoy speaking on it, why don't you start writing on it? And that's how it all really started.
So the question is, how'd you overcome that fear? What made you say, hey, you know what? I'm going to go after this. I'm going to tackle this.
Yeah. I think the best business to start or the best book to write is the one you need yourself. And I knew I wanted to lead and impact lives. And for me to be able to do that, overcoming that fear of speaking, I just had to overcome it. I had to take the 5 seconds and make the decision and just do it afraid. And what people don't realize is, yeah, I feared speaking, but I also feared writing. You remember the ACT test from high school? You ever take that thing?
No, I did it. No.
Okay.
Yeah, we all did. Yeah,
Right? So the ACT exam, and I got a 19.
19.
It was June of 1997. I got a 19. 36 is the high score. 19 over 36 is failing. Yeah. I was able to take it again. I did nothing different. I got a 20. Yeah. And when I got the 20, I looked at reading, writing, and I had 11. 11 out of 36 in reading and writing. And I had a terrible fear of writing too. And you know how I overcame writing fear? Because somebody believed in me. A gentleman by the name of Kerry Oberbrunner with Author Academy Elite. I was afraid to write. I told him, you know what, I had 11 on my ACT. I've never written anything before. I tried hiring ghostwriter after ghostwriter after ghostwriter. Struck out 3 different times. Kerry Oberbrunner called me, picked the phone. He said, you know what? The only one that can create and draw those stories out of you and impact those lives is if you believe in yourself and actually just do it.
As much as that's been going, the success has been going in your career, tell me about your biggest failure, my man.
Yeah.
What's the big lesson you learned from it?
Yeah, so that's an awesome question. You know, we talk about failure all the time. I never really think about what's the biggest failure. You know, the crashes on stage, the ACTs, all that kind of stuff. Sitting on the bench my senior year of college, when I really wanted to be out there and play. The last game I sat on the bench. But I would say the biggest failure looking back was when I valued process over people. I was so in the nuts and bolts of business that I forgot about people in life. And it hit me in 2010 in a performance review. You know, typically you have a performance review, the first maybe 57, 58 minutes, it's pretty positive, everything's going well, but all we remember is the last 2 minutes, and all I remember is the last 2 minutes of that one. And the owners of the Wisconsin Athletic Club says, you know what, Derek, you're great at the nuts and bolts, the process you understand, but you need to be more human. I understand it. Inside I was like, what? I am human, you know? Look at me. And I'm like, can you help me understand what you mean? Yeah. You're valuing process over people. If you want to get to where you go in your career as a general manager, as a leader in this company, if you want to grow, you're going to have to put people first. And what did that do for me? You know, I think about, okay, so why? Why human connection? Anybody can Google the 75-year study that Harvard did and show the importance of relationships in life. But when I really go back and I think about why human connection is so important is, I think of my daughters and my wife. My wife, Rachel, my daughters, Ellie and Mia, they don't care how many hours I work. They don't care if I work 40, 50, 60, 70 hours a week. They care about my presence with them. It's the same thing with business and at the Wisconsin Athletic Club. The members, we have probably 30,000 memberships in our organization, and we have over 1,000 team members. They don't care about what I'm doing. They don't care about the meeting I have. They care about my presence and my conversation, and do I really care about them?
And until you care, then you can definitely build a genuine relationship, because at the end of the day, how do you be human if you can't build something between?
I agree.
Okay.
Connect is a hot word out there, but I don't think you can't connect with somebody if you don't care about somebody first.
So upon this journey, Derek, you have your failures and such, it put you set back, but now you learn from it, the lesson, how to be human, right? Because I mean, the other day we were running through it. But tell me, where do you pull your confidence from? You know, not only as a director at for human resource at the WAC, from speaking on the stage, where do you pull your confidence from? Is it solely from experience, life lessons, your values, characters, or is it someone like named God, right? From a higher being? Tell me about that.
All of the above.
All of the above.
And you know, to really laser in on one piece of that, I would say values. Values, it's who you are. And I never even thought about personal values or what things I'm passionate about until probably 2013. And I've been able to form and find my personal core values, and I'm big on threes, and my three values are attitude, passions, and execution, which really is the time that I spend on what I'm passionate about. Those are my values. And to break down really what my passions are in those values, it's relationships, wellness or fitness, and personal growth and development. And you talk about relationships, that's what gives me confidence. My relationship with my family, my friends, my colleagues, and my relationship with God.
You're working at the WAC, you're speaking at Move Results, and you have your other side gigs, right? So tell me, and as well, of course, your family. Your family, can't forget that. Put that first. Okay, so how does that work? How do you distribute your time for each one so you can optimally perform, right? And spend quality time with your family. How does that all work?
Yeah, in 2014, I feel like I got run over, and my wife said to me, "We feel like you're making us the lowest priority in your life," and that moment in 2014, I immediately thought of a moment in 2004, and I was interviewing for the Miami Heat, and I was interviewing with Eric Spoelstra, who's now their head coach. He was a scout at the time. I was trying to be a video scout for the Miami Heat. And I bombed the interview, and he said, "Do you have any questions?" And I said, I didn't have any questions prepared. I just said, "Yeah, what's your most powerful tool for success?" And he said he believed in 8-day weeks. And I'm like, "Wow, that's really cool. Can you tell me more?" He says, he gets up earlier than everybody else, and so it feels like he's more productive and has an 8-day week. So I put together that moment with my family and Rachel in 2014 where I was making them feel like the lowest priority. And that moment in 2004 when Spoelstra said, "I believe in 8-day weeks." So I created and developed a daily U zone where I try to be, I'm not perfect, I don't do it every day, but I try to be the first one at Starbucks at 5 o'clock in the morning every single day before my family wakes up. And I'm knocking out my biggest project. And that is the only reason I've been able to create a speaking and a writing business with a day job, because from 5 o'clock in the morning to 6:30 in the morning, I'm either writing, preparing speeches, or working on that biggest project I had to do. Because I talked about a book for a long time, for like 4 or 5 years, and I was telling people I was writing a book. Talking is not writing. And I didn't get writing until I started the daily U zone. And what's the point? The point is that I got home by 6:45 in the morning. They're all just waking up, so I wasn't ripping away my time out of their life with that daily U zone.
So basically, you schedule time specifically. Hey, early in the morning, I'm more productive.
Exactly.
8 days a week. Okay. How about 9 days a week?
9 days, yeah, there you go.
9 days, okay, so that's where you got. Okay.
Because the problem is today, we act so busy.
Yeah, right.
We're so busy to tell people how busy we are.
Yeah, hey, I'm
You ever,
busy.
yeah.
Yeah,
So I think scheduling, I don't have a to-do list anymore.
Really?
I schedule every to-dos because that brings an element of reality to your to-do list. If you can't fit it in your calendar, guess what?
Right.
You're not going to do it.
Wow.
So I've started to really cut my goals in half, or double the time it takes to accomplish a goal as well.
So tell me more of that. You mentioned busy. Everyone says, "Yeah, I'm busy." But tell me about the myth about that. What's the real genuine thing about busy?
Yeah, I think the reality is we are all busy, but I'm going to tie this to New Year's resolutions, I think, a little bit. Okay. And I don't set New Year's resolutions anymore. Right. And it's not to say they're bad. I instead ask myself one question. What am I putting off that's bothering me? And I ask that question one time every single year. I've asked it since 2008. And I build my entire calendar around that one thing. So in 2018, I wanted to write my own job description with the Wisconsin Athletic Club. So everything I did aligned with, okay, how am I going to build and create my own job description as the director of people and service at the Wisconsin Athletic Club and make this a reality? It actually happened. I didn't focus on 1,800 other things. In 2019, professionally, the one thing I'm putting off that's bothering me is not starting my second book. So my U-zones, a lot of it is going to consume writing a second book. So you can ask that question, what's the one thing professionally you're putting off that's bothering you? And also, what's the one thing personally that you're putting off that's bothering you? Personally, I'm not scheduling enough family experiences. I'm scheduling all this stuff professionally, but I'm not scheduling family experiences, and that's another area of growth for 2019.
Wow. That was the question I was going to ask you actually next. And that basically stems from frustrated to fulfilled.
Absolutely.
Okay. So tell me, where did that philosophy come from? Where did you think, hey, shift, Mr. Shift, or frustrated from, and then to philosophy?
Yeah.
Where did that come from?
Yeah. Well, I believe strongly in self-leadership. Leading from the inside out, okay? And a lot of people talk about teams and culture and all this kind of stuff, but I don't believe you can have a great team or great culture without strong self-leadership. So shift, moving from frustrated to fulfilled, is truly a self-leadership journey. It's leading from the inside. And it walks through a journey of thinking about what their crash was. What are their personal core values? And this builds. And once you have a foundation of your values, we talk about personal growth. You have a foundation until you can start growing. And then gear number 3 is talking about personal vision, visualizing your preferred future. Because having a vision helps you make your day-to-day a reality. Gear number 4 is I call it a flow, and that's where explosive growth occurs. It's following the APE formula. I'm an acronym dork a little bit.
It's okay.
And the APE formula is attitude plus your passions plus execution equals explosive growth. And the last gear is gear 5, where I talk about really work-life fusion instead of work-life balance.
With that, Derek, what do you want to leave with the watchers?
Yeah.
What wisdom do you want to leave with them? The people learning more about personal development, learning how to get from their crash to where they want to be, right? Spending time with their families, working while trying to go after their hustle, their dream. Tell me, what do you want to leave wisdom with them?
I think it's the question that I get asked the most, I would say, in the last year or two. How do you discover your passion? I hear that all the time. I don't think you discover your passion. I don't think you find your passion. I think you build your passion. And when I said you build it around you, you don't build it around your company, you don't build it what somebody else wants for you, you build it around you. And what I'm trying to say is that I said that formula is attitude plus your passion plus your execution. It's actually attitude, execution, and then passion. We've all heard of Colonel Sanders before. Well, Colonel Sanders is famous for what? Chicken. But guess what? Colonel Sanders had motels, hotels, cafeterias, fail. He didn't make any money until he, voila, tried and failed at all that stuff and then discovered chicken. It's the same with me. I tried and failed a lot of things. I worked in a factory. I sold a nutrition product. I sold beer at Beloit Beverage Company. None of those things are wrong. It's just I didn't enjoy them. I had to do all those things to, voila, discover and find my passion.
So build it.
Build it. Create your life.
Build what you want. Okay. That's great, Derek. So tell me this, Derek. Where can we follow? Where can we keep engaged with your content?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, whatever you like to follow, go ahead and follow. And I would recommend, especially at this New Year time, out of all this stuff, execution. Everybody that's even maybe listening or paying attention wants to maybe do something, maybe do one thing that they're putting off that's bothering them. And I would recommend downloading my workbook. And you can find that at derekdeprey.com/ I think it's free shift resources.
Okay.
Is what it is.
We have that down in the description below. I also have that on the screen right here. But Derek, my man, I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Be nice. Also, don't forget to follow him on MySpace.
Yeah, right.
I just get it. Hey,
Thank you for the opportunity and more importantly for your friendship, Donovan. Appreciate it.
This is the Goldenboi Show with Don and guest Derek Deprey. Go after your dreams and go after it. All right.